Sanfa. I am from American University of Central Asia, and today I have my colleague Freda, who is from OSUN University, and we today will speak about project management and team building in the frame of Global Fellows project. So can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So first of all, we have here, so we'll start with project management as a definition. So I can read, but of course not fully. I will just give you a sort of context of what it can mean. But then I also want to hear from your perspective, what is project management for you, and how do you understand it in a way that how do you use it in your everyday life? So here we have project management is the use of specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value to people. The development of software for an improved business process, the construction of a building, the relief effort after a natural disaster, the expansion of sales into new geographic market. These are just examples of project management. And then we have also a short summary of everything that is said in the previous thing, that a project is a well-planned endeavor that follows a life cycle with a definite beginning and end. So what it means is that if you can imagine, for example, a cycle, you can understand that at some point it has a beginning and the end, and your task as a leader will be to define what will be the beginning and the end of this circle, and just also your responsibility as a leader would be to let this circle go on and on so that it will be continuously. So this is the principle of the circle. And now I want to hear, for example, from your perspective, how do you understand project management in your own words, not by definition, if anyone wants to share? Okay, so then we can go to Aaron Masuba. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, in my own words, the way I understand project management, it is where one applies skills or techniques, but these are to meet a certain project requirements. For example, it could be having some intended outcomes or goals that need to be delivered at the end of the project.
Yep. Yeah, actually, it's a very good summary of what I said, but in simple words, and that's actually good. Yeah, that's a good perspective. Okay, anyone else? Okay, then we can just move to the next slide, where we can talk about, yes, the project lifecycle that I talked about in previous. So the project lifecycle actually has definite 5 stages, for which we're going one by one now. So the first stage is called initiation. So the project initiation phase is like the first stage of turning an abstract idea. Yeah, so it's like at this stage you do not really, for example, know how to turn your abstract idea in mind into a real life. You just have an idea. For example, I will talk about the definition and bring the example of my own project. So in the initiation stage, I had an idea of the project, not even project, but just an idea of having something against violence in public schools. So I thought about I don't know, opening some mental health sessions or anti-bullying and anti-harassment sessions on this topic in public schools. So at this stage, I had only I was just developing a case, and I was defining on a broader level. I was just brainstorming. So also you can also call this brainstorm. What you can use on this stage is you can use a map of brainstorm. It's like, for example, you can use a charter where you can show goals. You can also show the frames. So for example, where the idea starts, where it ends, and then the budget. For example, how much money will you need to implement it in the future, at least approximate amount, and then the timeline. So for example, in June, I have an idea of. Can you please turn off your? Thank you. So for example, let's imagine that in June, for example, you just have an idea, and then you have to build a timeline. For example, in July, I already will apply for the funding. For example, not in August, let's say in September, I will receive the funding, and then from the September to November, I will try to implement it. This is how a real life timeline looks like. Then we have planning. So planning stage is where you already have to set the goals. So for example, a project success relies on the standards of planning process. In this phase, your primary task as a leader is to identify the technical requirements, developing a project schedule. So if in the initiation stage you had some kind of a timeline in your head, now you have to write it down on the paper. So you have to, for example, do a chart with a schedule, writing exactly the dates. Then you have to create a communication plan. Communication plan means that you have to write also on the paper the names of people or organizations or experts, or at least something with someone that you can contact with and collaborate with to implement your project. And then you have setting up goals and deliverables. We will talk about smart and clear methods a little bit later, but these two, let's say, methods they are really good in setting the goals as a visual thing. Then we have execution. Yep. So the project execution stage is where your team does the actual work. So for example, if in the planning you just had it on the piece of paper, now you start the real life work from paper in life. So you ensure that the tasks and activities planned at the previous stage are now carried out. And your role as a leader would be to work with your team to achieve the success. So now you will have to maintain very active collaboration with the team members, with partners, if you have any, which I mentioned as a communication plan. For example, if you have any person in mind or organization in mind. So now you have to collaborate with organizations that you're working with your team members, and with many, many, many other people. For example, your participants of the project. So you will have to really be multitasking in this execution process stage. Then we have monitoring and controlling. So this can be seen a little bit harsh on you because some people are just losing control on this stage. So people think usually that, for example, if the project already started, yeah. So for example, people think that whenever they already implemented a project and it's already going on, and you have people working on the project, it means that it's done, but it's not. You also have to monitor and control and track the whole progress in order to avoid failure, so that you, for example, let's say, for example, you have monthly workshops like this, right? So you have to control every time how is it going, how people are doing the workshops. And then, for example, if someone does a mistake in June, the next workshop will be better because we learned from the previous one. And then time tracking also is very important, and quantitative analysis, it's more advanced research. For example, if you want to track, for example, the number of participants who are joining the workshops, or if you want to also track the number of stakeholders or partners that you have in numbers. So this, you have also different tools to control it. But the main one is just to track your team members, how they are working, and then how you are working as well with them. So it's not only them working, it's also you working with them. And then also just to check the progress. How is it going? Is it going good? Are we having some problems here? What is the problem? How can we solve it in future? This monitoring process, why is it important? This stage guarantees the continuous ongoing, so that it is a long project. Then, and we have closing. Closure, it is the end, let's say official end of the project. So, for example, when you already when you are releasing staff and resources, for example, when you are closing the contracts with your organization, then, for example, if you also have a break with your team members, for example, you had your first cohort of sessions, and for example, from September to December, and then in January you have a break. This will be your first closure. And at this stage, you will be preparing the final budget and the project report if you had a micro grant or any other funding. What I would personally suggest here, and I edited this here, it's evaluation. So evaluation at this stage is kind of important because in the end of each, I would not say like the general project, but I would say rather in the end of each session or in the end of each meeting that you have with your team members, you have to evaluate and do the reflection on each other. For example, you can just note to your colleague that, for example, that while you were doing this work or while we were working together, I noticed that we, for example, had this and this difficulty. So let's talk about this and let's work on this so that we can improve the situation. And, for example, in the next cohort, which will be, for example, in the next year from February to May, we will not face this difficulty anymore. This is very important lesson for the future progress of the project, I think. So these are the main 5 stages. Okay, any questions about this on this note? Okay, and then let's move to the next slide and I will talk about, so if you remember on the planning stage, I say that you have to kind of like already frame your goals and deliveries in a more accurate and clear manner. So how you can do this, I mentioned the 2 methods, which are SMART and CLEAR. Maybe some of you are already familiar with them, maybe not all of you are familiar, so it's always good to repeat and revise. So SMART, it is defined as S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, realistic, and T, time-bound. I think actually I am personally using the first one, SMART, because it is actually really working on the planning stage for me. For example, so specific here, what does it mean? It means that you have to set real numbers with real deadlines. And you do not say, I want more visitors. This is incorrect. You cannot just, for example, come to your team members and say, okay, guys, so now that we have a project, it's prepared, we need a lot of participants to come and join us. You have to say, for example, we need, let's say, 25 or 30. You can say this or. This will be at least the more or less clear vision of what you want of what you want than just saying a lot of participants. So you can say, I need around 25 to 30 participants to come. And the real deadline, for example, let's say, let's do it till the end of this month. This would be very specific and realistic. Measurable, you have to make your goal that your goal is trackable. So for example, you should not hide behind buzzwords like brand engagement, social influence. You always need to measure your progress. You always need to measure your progress in a way that you can understand, for example, that it's about actually the tracking and the monitoring part, which I said, so that, for example, you can have a list of number of participants. For example, in June, we had 20 participants joining our workshop. In August, we had 15. In September, we had 10. So you see, we're like measuring and seeing what is like the progress, and we are controlling the number of people. And that then we have the statistics and the numbers of people so that we know that, for example, okay, so we have a problem here. We have less people joining. We need to solve it. And thanks to this method, we understand it. Then we have attainable, that you work toward a goal that is challenging but possible. For example, you do not say, try to take over the work is one night. That you need to work on this longer than one night. Realistic, it is kind of similar to specific, but here we mean not setting the numbers, but like be honest with yourself. So forget any hurdles you may have to overcome. This is what is not correct. You always have to be realistic and honest with yourself and with your team members. Time bound, it's deadlines. That you always should have clear deadlines, and do not, for example, you should not say keep pushing towards a goal you might hit someday. It's incorrect. And the final one is clear. It's collaborative, limited, emotional, appreciable, and refinable. This is the same as SMART, but this one is more to citizen developers. It's more on collaborative. It's focused more on team rather than on a individual work in a team. Okay, so I think I'm done with my part. Any questions? Okay, then we can go to Freda.
Hello, everyone. I'll be speaking about team building. So when we speak about a team, what is a team? A team is a number of persons, like a number of people coming together to work on an activity. And then a plan that can help these people to develop something real or to work on a project. That plan is called team building. So the activities that take place into how you want to go about your project and everything is team building. The better the cooperation, the communication, and the coordination among team members, the more efficient your project becomes, the more efficient you guys are able to collaborate and work together. So with this, I'm going to give the difference between a group and a team. Most people try to mix it up. So we have a group and then we have the team. A group is more of like a number of people that come together, work for just a short period of time, and then most importantly, they divide the work into pieces or like chunks to work on them, and then after that, they end the project or they end the assignment that they are working on. Whilst a team is that group that has a more number of people with a primary aim, and then to complete a focus assignment by delegating the tasks. So a team can have a lesser number of people, they are focused, they have a common goal, they collectively work. So instead of the group dividing the assignment and then working on it, the team collectively work. So in some aspects, they would all have a certain things that they are working on, but all that they are working on combines to make one good project. So ways of recruiting the team, and then in this case, I was leaning towards the aspect that most of us here are students, and then we may recruit our teams within our schools to work on our project together. So the first one is you send application for volunteers through email. So we can make use of our emails and then tell maybe the welfare committee or the entertainment committee to post this through our emails for us. So you post the application through your emails to all students, and then you can get volunteers through that. The second one is for you to design a poster and then paste around your campus. So we have like pasting boards around the campus. You design nice posters about your project with some brief information on your project, and then post this around your campus for students to see, and then kind of apply to join your team if they like your aim or what you are building. The third one is set a stand and educate students on what your project is about. So at Ashesi University, sometimes we give students are given the opportunity to set stand, or even through business fairs or club fairs. So you make sure you set your stand, and then have pictures, and then have some information about your project, and then explain to students what you do, and then how you are faring, how your team is, and the requirements of students to join you and to form that team, right? And the fourth one is have a social media page that highlights your work. So you can have maybe a Snapchat account, a LinkedIn, a Facebook, or an Instagram account. Then you'll be posting your work in your maybe WhatsApp groups or your class groups for people to see what you are doing. If someone is even interested, they wouldn't wait for your application to come out before. They could just come to you or text you and ask, oh, I like how your project is. I like the aim. I like your goal. Can I join? Can I help out? Or I can do this to help out. So how you build your social media presence is also very important to attract volunteers to come join you. The fifth one is make sure you have a form. So through the application, don't just tell people to come, right? Or else someone would just like to put your projects or to put it on their resume that they are doing this, they are doing that, but are not committed to working. Some people just like the fact that your project leaves campus, you go campus, you travel to help people. So they like the traveling aspect, but they don't like to come in and then work very hard to build your project along set that asks them some questions like, how do you plan on supporting the team? How can you help out? Why do you want to join us? So with these questions, you give them, you open the chance for them to tell you why they want to join, and then how they can help out. So you'll be able to know that oh, this person is coming in with the skills to build us an app, the skill to design our flyers, the skill to take photographs when we go for programs. So you know exactly which department, or let me say which group or which sub-team to put them under. The next one is focus on quality but not quantity. So if you are picking, don't think that because we need a lot of people to work, let me just be taking in everyone that comes in. Make sure you know from the fifth point, make sure you know that they are much interested in helping you out, but not just saying I am part of this project, I am part of this, but I'm not ready to help you out. And the next one is abstain from adding your friends. So it's very important. Sometimes your friend can design, your friend can, you know that your friend can write very well, but you need to know whether they are interested in helping you out or not. So ask them, are you interested in joining? Can you help us with this? If the person says yes, then fine, you can add them. But don't just add them that, oh, you are my friend, come and join my project, without knowing whether they want to help you out or not. So why does team work? Why is it needed? So your team is needed because you want to initiate a change. And I don't think if OSUN only had one person working, it would be this nice. And then we have a lot of students from the various universities, and then we all, for example, write the magazines. We all contribute to making this work, right? We have some people that are writing, we have other people building the website, and we have the global fellows also writing the magazine to be put on the website. So if we are all not together working respectively and then collaborating in all these aspects, the work wouldn't be nice, and we wouldn't be putting the progress of projects out there on the website for people to see. So teams are needed to initiate change. And then also teams are natural problem-solving devices. So when you try to pick in people who are committed to helping you to work, you people are going to come together to form a force, because you have an idea coming from this person, you have an idea coming from the other person, and you combine all those things together, all those ideas together to form to solve the problem that you people are targeting to solve. The next one is teams are collection of the organization's best assets. And then in today's work, we all know that even on internships, immediately you get in, they add you to a department, a division, or even team to work. And then why is that? Because they know that when they add people to work together, the solution that they bring out is kind of solid. And then it helps to build the solution that they want, and then helps to solve the problem that they need, instead of just one person group, or bring your idea, oh, do this or work on this. Teams are very effective, and then they try to build the organization very well. So how to create a high-performing team? You have to have a clear vision of your accomplishments. So we don't just come together and say, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Why are we doing this? So, okay, we have a target. So as Rokila said, you should have a SMART goal, right? So you should have a SMART vision. Let it be clear. Don't just say, we want to have maybe a good number of people joining us by next year. You should stay, so that after all the teams in the department or in the projects can work together in accomplishing that vision. The second one is to act from a clearly defined priorities. So maybe sub team 1 have what they are trying to accomplish at the end of the month. Sub team 2 has their targets. Sub team 3 has their targets. So you kind of tell them, this is what we need to do. And then in collaboration, at the end of the day, this is what we as a project, this is what we want to have. The next one is have a clear measure of success and receive feedback about how your team is doing. So this can be related to checks and balances, or even outside your team. You can ask the other sub team to weigh how you are performing. The next sub team also, you can also contact students and then ask them, do you see our project is trying to attain what we want to do or something? So receive feedback and try to build on that. The fourth one is successfully manage conflict, and this is very important. As we have dynamic people and then like unique people, everybody is coming from a different background with different aims, and then how they think and how they do their stuff, right? But since you are a team, you don't expect someone to be working as how you are working. So since you guys are going to work differently, there might be conflicts, and then as maybe the team lead or maybe any person in the team, don't just say this is a conflict, let's just keep quiet. Make sure that that conflict is solved. You call the people, you manage the conflict, and then combine your mindsets, you combine your ideas to build a very strong solution for the team. The fifth one and the last one is to delegate responsibilities. So as I said earlier, to have a clear vision and define priorities. Let every sub-team under the project have their responsibility to work on. Don't just combine, because it might encourage free riding. So let every sub-team have their delegated responsibility and work on that for the good. So this is the end of our presentation, and then thank you very much.